You're good.
All right, welcome to the Perfect Season podcast alongside Anthony Fiorentino. I'm Alex Frank, better known as Frankie, and we got a lot to get to today. Antonio is going with a different kind of, as he told me before the show, football today. I went with the football, as you see, the great Caesar Superdome in New Orleans. And Anthony, we got a lot to get to. Week 16 is in the books. 2 weeks remain in the regular season. Week 16, the game of the week, might be one of the games of the year. Philly and Dallas. The Cowboys.
That was a great game.
It was a fantastic game. Dallas winning 40-34. Dak Prescott, maybe the biggest win of his career, at least in the regular season. Anthony, what's your biggest takeaway?
I mean, you look at it like this. Dallas was trailing this game majority of the game. They were trailing. They were down at least 2 touchdowns. Remember when they were down 27-14. They were down that much. And then you come back and win. Dallas they kept fighting throughout the whole game, kept on fighting. They showed they were the bigger team. But my take is, if Jalen Hurts was quarterback, Philly would have won that game.
You're saying if Jalen Hurts was playing quarterback, they would have won?
Yes, like, don't get me wrong. Gardner Minshew played a really good game. But
he did. I mean, yeah, but how much better can you get? I mean, I guess he was only 60% completion, 24 or 40. I mean, he threw for 355. He threw for 2 touchdowns.
And he had a pick.
Yeah, well, he had 2 picks. Dak
picks.
Prescott, 27 of 35 for 347 yards and 3 touchdowns, but the best throw of the game, Anthony, was that 3rd and 30 bomb to T.Y. Hilton. And that completely changed the game in the 4th quarter. And I look at what CeeDee Lamb was able to do.
Yeah.
With the game tie and touchdown. His final numbers from Saturday: 10 catches, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So the Cowboys' best players showed up when it mattered most.
And you know what is still funny to think? Odell is still a free agent.
Odell is still a free agent. I mean, but can you really see him? Can you really see him coming back? I mean, coming at this point.
In 2 weeks left of the regular season, he's going to want to sign with the playoff team.
All right, so now that Dallas has beaten Philly, the best team in the NFC, how far do you think they can go in the playoffs?
They're still choke artists, first-round exits.
Okay, you're saying that because Tampa Bay, if they win this week, they're most likely
to play Dallas.
They're going to play Dallas in the first round of the playoffs. Now, let's go to we'll go here. First game on Christmas, Green Bay and Miami. The Packers.
That was a good game.
It was a very good game, but it was a game where I think Miami was exposed and Green Bay showed, hey, we're still alive in the NFC playoff race.
That Rodgers actually gives his receivers time to settle before he gives his receivers time to settle and not just, throw the ball mid-route. I've been watching a bunch of I've been watching a lot of how Rodgers plays. Rodgers when he was giving beef to Christian Watson, he was saying, his receivers have to start settling and catch the ball and learn their routes. How's he going to do that how are they going to learn the routes once their receivers are still mid-route? He was throwing the ball mid-route.
Yeah.
So it's just like, how are you going to, it doesn't make sense.
Interesting tidbit that you bring up there, because I feel like the Packers are still a hard team to watch because they're not very good offensively. They have Aaron Rodgers, I don't think, has a game this year with 300 or more passing yards, and there's only 2 games remaining. But the Packers defense, what they were able to do after falling behind 20-10, they forced 4 turnovers the rest of the way in the second quarter and second half. This is a Packers team that is still very much alive. And yeah, they might end up drawing San Francisco in the first round of the playoffs if they get there. But at the same time,
I would say San Francisco takes that game.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it is impressive what Green Bay's been able to do. Here's a team that was 4-8 and left for dead in coming into December. And all they've done, they went to Chicago, won that game. They beat the Rams at home on Monday Night Football. And then they went to Miami and really they slowed down one of the best offenses in the National Football
And now,
League. So
now Tua's back to being concussed.
he is. Now, did he get exposed in this game? Like, did Tua, are we, because we talked about this earlier today. Tua, I mean, I get the sense that we don't think Tua's the guy.
No.
In terms
I mean,
of,
he
in
has his
terms of-
good games, he has his bad games. It's just people judge way too early.
yeah, but 3 interceptions, Anthony.
Okay,
Jameis 3
Jameis threw
interceptions.
quarterbacks throw 3 interceptions a game. Derek Carr threw 2.
Are you saying Tua is the next Jameis Winston?
I'm not saying that just yet. Tua could, let's say he gets healed, he gets healthy. I don't know who the Dolphins have this week.
They're at New England, which is going to be a difficult test.
Okay, let's say Tua doesn't play this game, but he plays the next game. I don't know who they close out the season against.
At home against the Jets.
Okay, they close it out against the Jets. If Tua throws 4 touchdowns, no picks, 300 yards, everyone's going to say, oh, look at Tua. He's such a good quarterback. Look at these quarterbacks. You look at Brady, for crying out loud. He has a couple bad games, has a good game. Everyone writes him off as the biggest, whatever, like the not a big dark horse anymore. Like everyone's saying, oh, they judge way too quick before a lot of quarterbacks just have bad games. So I'm not saying anything until after the season because he could still be playing with injury. You never know. People judge way too early.
They do judge way too early, but
So I'm not gonna say
Anthony 0-4 in December says a lot.
Yes, 0-4 in December does say a lot, but I'm not saying he's the next Jameis Winston. That's not what I'm saying.
Well, I mean,
I'm saying he could. A lot of quarterbacks start off the season hot and then finish off really terrible. So I'm not gonna say he's the next Winston. He's the next. He's not the next Justin Fields. He's not this. He's not that. I'm just saying let these next 2 games see what he makes for. You got the New Year Sunday. So you never know. And New England's one of those teams that's hit or miss.
Yeah. And Tua's a really accurate quarterback.
He is.
Tua's really accurate.
So I'm not saying
at the same time.
I'm not saying he's the next. I mean, he's not the next. He's not the next.
This month of December, I mean, he hasn't won a game. And that, we talk about teams who are built to win in December. Yeah. Miami is not that.
They've almost been that.
Well, almost doesn't count except in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah. Okay, after this Miami topic, we had the Bucks and the Cardinals. Now
that game was
I'll tell you this. They need to get rid of Byron. They need to get rid of Todd. If you look at the post-game speech that Todd gave, Mike Evans and Julio Jones show no emotion. Julio had his head down half the time. And Mike Evans just sat there with a straight face. Like someone said Mike Evans looks like he just got underwear and socks on Christmas in his stocking. That's the face he gave.
Yeah, I mean, you wonder why. It's been such a long season. Go ahead, Anthony.
And it's just saying, I was watching the game, point blank. I watched up till halftime because honestly, I was tired and fell asleep. I'm not gonna lie, that's literally what happened. But the Bucks are too predictable. You can't play the NFL like it's a game of Madden. You can't just run. It's not going to work. You're going to be figured out way too easily. And the Bucks are way too predictable.
They scored 23 points against the Bengals, but I feel like they haven't crossed the 20-point threshold
in a long time. And we have Carolina this week. And it's Carolina. But
the last time you played Carolina, you guys got your teeth kicked in.
We got our tails kicked. Point blank, said and done. I'm not going to say, it's going to be a little interesting to see what happens against Carolina this week. We could win. Hopefully we win. Maybe they actually change the plays up like how it was against Cincinnati. And you start off passing. Throw the ball. You have star-studded receivers. Throw the ball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Tom Brady this year hasn't been, the Tom Brady that we saw last year or in 2020, but I feel like.
Well, before you say that, he has Jensen is hurt. Marpet retired.
Yes.
You have Robert Hainsey, Donovan Smith, who's a mediocre left tackle who's not that good. You have Tristan Wirfs.
Yes.
Tristan Wirfs, who's one of the best offensive tackles.
Yeah. Last year, the Buccaneers were so good because their offensive line was so good. This year, like the moment Ryan Jensen went down, that probably doomed their season. Now, the good news for them is they play in a division that isn't very good.
Their division's terrible.
Yeah, the Saints have lost a lot of close games. Carolina,
Carolina's a hit or a miss.
They've been competitive. When they're good, but when they're not, they're not. And Atlanta, I mean, they for a while I thought, okay, maybe they can be a contender in this, but no, they're not. They were 5-6 driving against Washington, lost that game, and they haven't won since week 11, and they're now sitting at 5-10, and they're already eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah. So if the Bucs win, we win the division this year at 8-9.
Yeah. As incredible as it sounds, the Buccaneers.
And my thing after this year, I think Brady will ride off in the sunset, or he stays another year, but signs elsewhere with San Francisco.
I mean, it's still.
And then you look at Tampa and their quarterback situation. You have Kyle Trask, who I rightfully think should be given the next opportunity. He's ready. He's had 2 years behind Brady. And then you sign someone in free agency who can also still mentor him. And then you draft someone in the later rounds.
I understand that, the Buccaneers haven't been great, but yet here they are. They're playing for a championship week 17. And it's Brady in the playoffs. You never know. They could get hot. You really do never know. But the problem is,
we can score more than 19 points a game.
All right. So you know what? We spend so much time on your team. Let's go to the Bengals and Patriots. One of the more weirder games of the week.
That touchdown at the end.
Yeah, crazy. 3rd and 29, and Jacoby Myers getting a gift off a deflection. The Bengals stormed out to a 22-0 halftime lead and then gave up 18 unanswered points in the second half and had to get a fumble inside the 10-yard line, stripped by Von Bell, and the Bengals win their 7th straight game to get to 11-4.
Yeah.
And are still alive for the 1 seed. They still hold a 1-game lead in the AFC North. They could move into the 2 seed with a win Monday night against Buffalo. We'll get to that in our predictions. But Anthony, are you concerned about the Bengals because
they could make a run? Cincy could make a run.
They could. I mean, Joe Burrow did that
if they
last
stay
year.
healthy.
Yeah,
if they stay healthy.
Speaking of health, Lyle Collins, Bengals starting right tackle, big free agent signing in March. He went down with a torn ACL, MCL done for the year. So that's a big blow there.
I mean, yeah, it's one player, but that hurts. That does hurt.
It does. It does hurt.
It hurts you a lot, but I still think since he's going to make a deep run in the playoffs.
Yeah. I would like to think that.
Okay, now I was going to say let's, roll things over, switch things up a little bit.
At this point of the season, the win is a win. And Joe Burrow, there was a time where if he turned the ball over multiple times, the Bengals more often than not didn't win. Well, this was the second game in the Bengals 7-game winning streak where he threw more than 1 pick.
Yeah.
And the Bengals still won.
Yeah. It's crazy. But let's switch things up. Nathaniel Hackett gets fired. We rightfully saw that coming.
I'm not surprised. That was an embarrassing showing on Christmas Day by the Broncos. An absolute embarrassment. The Rams.
Of course, that's why they gave it the Nickelodeon broadcast.
Yeah.
So I did watch some of that to see what they were saying.
It was just an absolute disgrace of a performance by a Broncos
a disgrace.
Team.
It was
we had such high expectations. But the embarrassing
Colin Cowherd said this team could have been a Super Bowl team for the next couple of years.
Well, it's hard to see that now because I don't know who the Broncos have for Russell Wilson to throw the ball to. And also Denver's defense that had been so good all season, the reason why they had chances to win all the games they lost, they gave up 51 points to Baker Mayfield and the Rams. I mean, talk about Baker Mayfield. Comes into LA, he's 2-1. I mean, if I mean, and I was talking to someone about this earlier this week. If he can humble himself and be a backup quarterback for a week or for a year under Matthew Stafford, hey, you never know.
Yeah. I mean, you never know, but I'd see the Broncos do a lot of digging deep this offseason and trying to find their guy.
Yeah.
Whoever it is. Hopefully the Bucs do some digging deep and try and find their guy also.
All right. So.
But no, I asked you this earlier, I know, when I called you. Now that Nathaniel Hackett's gone, what do you see about Russell Wilson? Do you think he plays better?
It remains to be seen because, like, people thought going into. I think there was this thought that going into the season, Russell Wilson still had it. But if you remember last year in Seattle, he wasn't even good that year. So I think about what he is. I mean, I think about the point that he's at in his career. Next year is going to be year number 12.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't. I mean, I don't know how many years he has left, but I think they need some playmakers. They need an offensive line.
Denver doesn't start paying him the $250 million.
Yeah,
next year.
That offensive line is not good.
No. And what Nathaniel Hackett said about how can I coach someone that has more bathrooms in their house than touchdowns this year in the season? It's ridiculous.
It's a disappointment. It really is, because I thought Denver would be competitive. And the Rams, I mean, give them credit. They didn't have
5-11.
They've got some new life in them. Look, it's just a down year for them. Bunch of injuries, bunch of players lost in the offseason. Their offensive line's not what it was last year.
No.
I think they're poised for a rebound year next year. I really do. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get to week 17.
Predictions?
Yeah. I mean, how about this? We got a week 17 Thursday night game.
Which is, I haven't looked at any of the games.
Cowboys and Titans in Nashville. Cowboys in the 5 spot. Tennessee trying to.
Tennessee coming off that god awful loss to Houston.
I did see that coming though. So Tennessee.
I predicted Houston winning. So
Yeah. So you and I both did actually.
Oh,
so,
props to us.
Yes.
Look at us.
There we go. All right. So Cowboys Titans Thursday night football. I mean, Tennessee.
Call me crazy. Tennessee comes out mad in this game. Okay. They come out mad, losing to formerly 1-11-1 Houston.
Okay.
Tennessee comes out and knocks the doors off Dallas.
Interesting, because I feel like Anthony.
And it's in Tennessee.
I feel, yeah, it is. It's their last home game of the year. They're on a short week. You know, maybe the Cowboys are fat and happy after beating Philadelphia, but to me, this is a bad matchup if you're the Titans, because I think the Cowboys are going to be able to do what they want offensively against the Tennessee defense. I'm going to be honest, it's not very good.
No.
Or I shouldn't say that.
But you still, and Derek,
it's good, but it's not as great as some make it out to be.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
And Tennessee's offense, who does Malik Willis have to throw the ball to? And
besides Derrick Henry.
Dallas brings an elite secondary. They bring a great pass rush. Now, I have been told today that Micah Parsons has been injured the previous few weeks, and that's why his production hasn't been what it was at the start of the season. But I'm going to take the Cowboys in this game. I think they get their 12th win of the season, remain alive in the NFC East race, but Philly.
The Titans have Treylon Burks, Robert Woods, Nick Westbrook, Chris Conley, and Ricky McMahon. That's their receivers.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up,
a bunch of nobodies.
All right. So Anthony, you got the Titans. I've got the Cowboys. Cardinals at Falcons.
Oh, good God.
I mean,
give me Atlanta.
I'll take Atlanta, and yeah.
I mean, I saw a couple good things from McSorley.
I'm still
taking Atlanta.
I don't know.
Atlanta in a low scoring game.
It's Desmond Ritter's first home start. I'll take Atlanta.
Yeah.
All right. Big one in Detroit. The Bears and the Lions. The Lions trying to stay alive in the playoff race after a disappointing loss to Carolina.
So much for me saying 10-7.
No, you can still go 9-8. I'll take the Lions.
I said 10-7 or 9-8, so I'm happy.
All right. So I got the Lions. Who do you
I'm taking the Lions.
All right.
Lions country, let's roar.
All right. Now we go to Jaguars and Texans. The Texans have given the Jaguars some problems over the years, Anthony. Does that continue this week?
No. Jacksonville's playing good football. Point blank. So Houston's also been playing really good football. Yes, they closed out that game against Tennessee, but
this is so tempting because I feel like I'm being pulled into.
I'm staying with what's hot. Going with Jacksonville.
I'm being pulled in two different directions. I feel like I'll take Jacksonville because I mean Houston beat
Think
a
about
bad tenant.
Jacksonville next year is going to be dangerous.
Yeah, I think they will.
You get Calvin Ridley back after
Yep.
suspension.
Yeah, and I mean Trevor Lawrence is gonna go into year 3.
Mm-hmm.
So,
he's franchise QB there.
Yes. All right, let's go to Denver and Kansas City. I don't think we need any explanation here.
Kansas City by a mile.
I'll take Kansas City by 50.
I'll say Kansas City by 45. Give Denver a field goal and a touchdown.
Last game they played though was very close, but keep in mind Denver has not beaten Kansas City since week 2 of 2015. Dolphins and Patriots, another crucial AFC game.
You know, I'm going with the Dolphins. I feel like a new year. Playing some. I know they went 0-4 in December. I know that, but give me Miami.
I am gonna take Miami because I don't think New England.
Mac Jones is not the answer.
Mac Jones is not the answer,
and neither is Bailey Zappa.
I will point out to you, Miami's beaten New England twice in the last 3 years in Foxborough. So,
and me personally, think Father Time's coming. Belichick rides off into the sunset.
Interesting. Well, we'll see if that happens. I like the Dolphins in this game. Let's go to the Colts and the Giants. The Giants still fighting for a playoff spot. They're 8-6-1. The Colts, well, they're in some dire straits.
Give me the Giants.
I'll take the Giants as well.
Giants by 27.
Next up, the Saints and the Eagles.
This could be a good game.
I think it's an underrated game, but I think
give me Philly and a bounce back victory.
If there's such thing as a good loss, Philly suffered it last week. I'll take the Eagles.
Give me Philly and a bounce back.
All right, let's go to your game. Carolina, Tampa Bay, NFC South potentially at stake for Tampa. NFC South at stake for Tampa Bay.
Please, Lord, let Tampa win and throw the ball.
I will take Tampa Bay. Because it's in Tampa Bay. Cleveland and Washington. Interesting game here.
This is an interesting game. Taylor Heineke did get hurt.
I think that.
But I'm still going with Washington.
All right, so you got Washington. I'm going to take Cleveland in this game in an upset. Right now, if we look at the standings, if the season ended today, the Commanders are that's not right. Right now, the Commanders are in the 7th spot. Giants are in the 6th. You got Seattle and Detroit and Green Bay all sitting at 7 and 8. Now, if we look at playoff scenarios for this week, if they're out, which I don't know if they are. Whoops. Let me see if they are out for this week. They are. Let's see if they are out for this week. Yes, they are. So we've got. All right. So in the NFC, the Giants can clinch a playoff berth with a win this week. And there's a whole bunch of other scenarios. The Commanders, they can clinch a playoff berth with a win, a Seattle loss, a Detroit loss, and a Green Bay loss or tie. So all that stuff could happen. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to next game on the list, which is the Niners and the Raiders.
Oh God.
The battle by the Bay. How about this?
No,
you got
formerly battle by the Bay.
You got oh wait, my bad. You're right. Jeez, that's a brain fart. I was gonna say you get the battle by the Bay and the battle for LA this week, but it turns out, okay, I'm gonna take the Niners. They're playing too well right now.
They are. Pains me to say this. I want the Raiders to win. It's in Vegas. I'm going with the Raiders.
All right. So an upset there. Jets, Seahawks.
That's my one upset for the week.
All right. Jets, Seahawks.
Seattle.
I'm going to take Seattle. I think they bounce back, stay alive. Vikings and Packers, game of the week on CBS.
Vikings, Packers. Give me Vikings.
I will take Green Bay. All right. Rams, Chargers. Chargers are already in the playoffs.
Rams, Chargers.
I think I'm going to pick the Rams. This is my upset. I'm going to pick the Rams.
I'm gonna pick the Rams. I'm picking the Rams.
That's a Rams home game, and they're the road team. Weird, but true.
Oh yeah, because they share a stadium.
Yeah.
So
by the way, the weather in Green Bay for this Sunday, it's actually not bad. High of 36. Could be a lot worse in January than that. Let's go to the next game on the list. That is the Sunday night game that got flexed. Steelers and Ravens.
I'm going with the Ravens.
I'm going to take the Ravens.
They're playing in better football.
I don't think they're playing better football at all, to be honest with you. Anthony, since losing to Jacksonville, where they scored 27 points, the last 4 games, they've scored 10, 16, 3, and 17. What about that is playing better football? And by the way, they only scored 13 against Carolina, 27 against the Buccaneers and Saints. They scored 23 against the Browns and Giants. Or no, 20 against the Giants, I think. 19 against the Bengals, 20 against the Bills, 31 against. I mean, they did start out well, but their offense has sputtered. They're winning games by their defense, which is fine. That's what they've historically won by. But I'm going to take the Ravens, but I think it's going to be a close, low-scoring game. And finally, this is going to be a barn burner. Monday Night Football in Cincinnati, the Bills and the Bengals. Anthony, who do you have?
Going into the season, I thought the Bills would be like a 2-loss, 1-loss team. How many losses do they have?
They've got 3.
Make that 4.
All right. Anthony's picking the Bengals. Now, I don't like picking against the Bengals, but I fear the Bengals secondary is going to be in for a long night. I think Josh Allen's going to make some big throws. I do think that it's something that I've said this all along. Give me Joe Burrow in a big game. I'll take my chances because I think he can win close games. Because I, for so long, said the Bills can't win close games.
Mm-hmm.
In their 6-game winning streak, they squeaked by the Browns, the Lions. They beat the Dolphins on a game-winning field goal. They had to come from behind in doing so. They beat the Jets by 8. This team is getting better and playing close games. I'm going to take the Bills. Would it shock me if the Bengals won? No, but I'm going to take the Bills to.
Now you know what other games in 3 days? Battle of the Orange Bowl.
Tennessee and Clemson, yes.
Give me Clemson.
I'm going to take Tennessee.
Give me Clemson. I think Cade plays well. I think he continues his hot streak.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. You know what? I'll take Clemson too. What am I thinking? I'll take Clemson.
Give me Clemson.
I'll take Clemson.
Clemson by 17.
I'll take Clemson.
Clemson, I'm going to say 27, Tennessee 14.
All right. There we go.
You heard it here first. That will do it for today's episode. Don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Tell us what your favorite moment was. Tell us some new segments you want us to cover. Blah, blah, blah. If you agree, disagree with us, let us know in the comments. But once again, thank you so much for watching. And we'll have the whole squad here shortly. Hopefully in the new year, ring in the new year, have some fun. New segments, new sports.
Yep.
Starting the new year off hot.
Absolutely.
All right.